everyone's having a great morning so far? Excellent. Merci. So I want to provide everyone with a broad overview of generative AI. So I want to talk about opportunities, a little bit of art of the possible. I also want to talk about some of the challenges and what I believe we are doing to address some of them. So we'll get into that in a few slides. So let's start with, we are in an AI-driven revolution. A lot of people call these times the Industrial Revolution 4.0. It's an era that is getting defined by more intuitive interaction between humans and technology. Gen AI will have a massive impact on all industries. The rate at which this technology is diffusing into industries other than software is unprecedented. So Google has been working on AI for a very long time, since the early days of Google search. It all really started, the ChatGPT, the T in GPT stands for transformer. Google researchers invented and open sourced this technology in 2017. So let's talk about the story of two gentlemen here. We've got Raju and Michel. Meet Raju. He's a rice farmer in northern India, and Michel owns a sugar shack just a few hours away outside of Ottawa. They may seem like they live in different worlds, but they've got a lot in common. They both rely on Google AI every day. An AI that understands voice. So here we've got Raju asking, what is the price of rice? Raju is illiterate and uses his voice to perform day-to-day activities, speaking of accessibility. Then we've got Michel, who has sticky hands from that maple syrup, asking what are the requirements for grade A maple syrup? AI that understands language. 133 languages to be exact. Just last year, 24 languages were added. Over 300 million people speak these newly added languages, like Mizo, used by Raju, and 800,000 others in far northeast of India, and Lingala, used by over 45 million people across Central Africa. Or an AI that can respond. And here the audio is not working, but there is a human-generated voice that's supposed to play here. But what else do they have in common? These two gentlemen were generated by AI, using Google's Imagine image generation service. So just so you know, I asked here, provide a magazine cover quality photo of a North Indian farmer on a hot sunny day, and this is what was generated. And then for Michel, provide a magazine cover quality photo of a French-Canadian lumberjack wearing flannel in a forest on a cold winter day. I do want to add a note here. These are digitally watermarked. Okay, and that watermark is visible using a special service, but you can tell that this was generated, and you cannot remove that watermark without, affecting the integrity of the image. So while those two may not be real, they do represent billions of people who use AI one way or another every day. Now, let's talk about Gen AI and think about these applications in three broad areas: personal, societal, and business. Looking at the Magic Eraser, it's a pixel feature that uses Gen AI to remove objects from a photo. We've got Google Lens, which is the video search. So you could take a picture and it will search in that picture for items. You've got YouTube that automatically generates captions for videos, making them more accessible to a wider audience, including those who are deaf or hard of hearing. We've got Smart Compose in Gmail that uses AI. In fact, I like to think of, the keyboard autocorrect, trying to guess the next word. That's probably in the simplest form, a function of generative AI. And lastly, we've got Google Maps that identifies and forecasts hard brake events to suggest alternative routes when available. So Google Cloud, our mission is about making AI useful for everyone. Just to use a Deloitte AI Institute quote here, government and public services organizations are increasingly exploring how generative AI can be used to help automate administrative tasks, analyze policy documents, parse case notes, and inform customized citizen services. And I have examples of all of these. So when I think of Gen AI, I like to think of it in four broad categories. It helps create amazing content. It helps synthesize and organize information. It helps automate business processes or support business processes. And it helps build engaging citizen experiences. This is possible in part thanks to large language models. So why are LLMs different? They have emergent abilities, which means they do not have to be explicitly trained to do things. You can train an LLM on a large corpus of data, and it learns to translate, answer questions, code, and so on. Next, LLMs change how we interact with intelligent systems because of their contextual understanding of human language. With an LLM, you can query a database with a simple question. You need to find an information on a website, type it in a chatbot. Finally, LLMs are the next in our machine learning journey. Many years ago, you'd use a simple regression to find a pattern. Then with neural networks, you were able to unlock hidden patterns in a much larger data set. Now with LLMs, we can find patterns and connections in massive disparate data sets. Illustrating on the right, LLMs support 6 use case patterns: classifying information, searching information, generating information, summarizing, rewriting, and extracting. So on foundation models, we have examples of 6 foundation models on the screen here for a variety of modalities and tasks, including text, dialogue, code generation, code completion, image generation, and embeddings and other functions for downstream machine learning tasks in your ML pipeline. Beyond that choice, you have the built-in safety and governance, access to the best state-of-the-art models, and enterprise-grade infrastructure with performance, scalability, low cost, and global reach. So now a bigger model isn't always better. Besides foundation models supporting specific modalities, we also provide models that are trained on industry-specific data, like MedPalm for life sciences and healthcare, and SecPalm for cybersecurity. With our open model ecosystem, we offer over 100 models from Google, open source models, and partners including BERT, T5, Stable Diffusion, and VIT. A few months ago at Google Cloud Next, we announced that we're adding new models including Llama 2 and just announced Code Llama from Meta and TII's Falcon. All of these capabilities are accessible in our consumer enterprise-grade Vertex AI platform. So as you can see on the left side there, you've got the consumer realm of Gen AI tools and solutions like ChatGPT or like Google's Bard. On that side, you can go ahead and ask it, let's book me a trip to Patagonia, and it will give you an itinerary for a trip. But when you're starting to use these tools in an enterprise context at work, using sensitive data, perhaps some PII, you want an enterprise-grade platform that has all of the security built in. Enter Vertex AI. Vertex AI is a platform that includes a large amount of AI, ML, and generative AI capabilities, all on a platform sitting on your Google Cloud organization within your Google Cloud perimeter. So just breaking open the box very briefly, I just want to touch on democratizing AI and Gen AI with this platform. There are different layers to the platform that would cater to different personas. So business users could go right into this platform and use some of the out-of-the-box solutions like Document AI, which could read a form and extract elements of data from the form and put that into a database in an automated fashion. Then you have the Model Garden, where you can import all kinds of different large language models and domain-specific models, as I just previously discussed, all through this platform. I'll dig a little bit deeper in a few slides. Let's talk about some use cases. There are tons of different use cases for Gen AI, and I want to double-click on a few here. I can't tell you how often I've heard, can't we just do a Google search for information holdings within our enterprise? I've got a demo in a few slides that will discuss that. How about this? Chris, I need to write a briefing note very, very quickly. I got about 50 pages of stuff to read and write the briefing note. I don't know where to start. This was actually a friend of mine about a month ago. So they ended up using a technology that will read through this information and provide a summary. It was a starting point. There was still the human element where they had to sift through, validate, verify the information, cite the sources, and so on, but it saved a lot of time and panic. Contact center and customer support. I'm going to pick on IRCC for one moment here because I was in the public sector and I did work on the centralized ATIP online request service. IRCC was one of the bigger drivers of ATI, access to information requests, because there was no easy way for an immigrant, a potential immigrant, to go in and see the status of their form, of the process. So they would do an ATI request. Well, what if you had a Gen AI solution that could read through the case management system and provide a chatbot, citizen-facing, potential immigrant-facing, that can answer the question, what is the status of my immigration form? Am I missing anything? Is there a problem with data in a field, for example? And lastly, task automation. And I will give an example of a regulatory department that we're dealing with right now. They have a form where product manufacturers have to fill out this form whenever they make a change to the product. We now have a system called Document AI that reads through the form and puts that information into a database, all in a protected B environment. That has actually increased the quality of the data. It increased the throughput, so there was a backlog of forms from that regulatory firm, and it increased employee morale. Because reading a form and putting it into a database, some people just weren't happy with that task, and they were moved to higher value activities. So with use cases set aside, let's look at some of the challenges or what we need to do before we really dive into Gen AI. The first thing I need to point out is enterprise readiness is at the very core of our approach to Gen AI. On one hand, it means that we've built Gen AI products on top of Google Cloud so that you can take advantage of the enterprise readiness features, both technical and administrative, built into GCP, from customer managed encryption keys to logging data access, not to mention compliance to the Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity's Medium Cloud Control Profile, or PB. On the other hand, it means tapping into Google's cutting-edge research on areas like safety and responsibility and applying lessons that Google has learned through working with our own products like Google Search, Chrome, YouTube, and so on. So enterprise readiness is a very broad topic that could cover a couple of hours, actually, but I'll double-click on just a few points from these pillars. You own and control your data, not Google. Your data is your data. Let's define your data. Your data includes the input prompt, the model output, the training data. We all believe that these are part of your data and your intellectual property. We don't use your data to train our own models, and we only process your data according to your instructions. In fact, we're the first in the industry to publish an AI/ML privacy commitment, which outlines our belief that you should have the highest level of security and control over your data and how it is used for AI/ML, including generative AI. We have many years of experience reviewing the data privacy designs of each of our new products, with 9 billion user products, and regularly review our operations to stand behind the statement. Lastly, as part of Google's shared fate model, we are protecting customers with Gen AI indemnification. Put simply, regardless of the training data underlying all of our services that we offer to you, or the outputs of our generative AI services, Google indemnifies you. This is where the rubber hits the road here. It all comes together in this picture. I won't spend too much time on it, but you have your Google Cloud perimeter. If you're a public sector entity, let's call that your Google Cloud Protected B landing zone, right? Within that, you can import a large language model as a starting point, and then you have your content and your data can be used to train the adapter model. So with that foundation model and your own data, you can then essentially augment the foundational model. So let's look at a public service example. Previous year tax information is, in the CRA database, and you have an LLM, and you want to create a tax person chatbot. With the information that you have in your own database and the LLM, you can essentially have that chatbot act as a tax advisor, or it could answer questions around how much do I owe this year, or what was my T4 total last year. So in 2018, we were one of the first companies to articulate AI principles. These principles put beneficial use, users, safety, and avoidance of harm above business considerations. Specifically, our principles consist of 7 things AI should do and 4 areas that we will not pursue. Now, we operationalize these AI principles in 3 ways. We have processes to review products and use cases, our own internally and our customers' use cases. We red team our LLMs. We have safety filters. It's an example output from our safety filters. We classify across 15 potentially harmful categories and provide a confidence score for your LLM outputs. And third, through industry-leading research and best practices, we provide tools for you. Here are 3 actions leaders can take now for responsible AI. 1, be an active and visible sponsor for AI in your organization. 2, establish AI governance. And 3, build our AI capacity and capabilities. So I want to leave you as well with the People and AI Guidebook. This is a toolkit that you can use to ensure that the time and resources you invest in building AI make a big impact while putting the user first the entire time. It's the result of over 100 contributors from across Google and Alphabet, synthesizing everything we've learned in recent years about designing and building successful AI products. pair.withgoogle.com. I want to finish with a quick demo of something we did for a number of customers. It is essentially using our Vertex AI search and conversation to index a public website. There are other things that can be done here, like indexing structured data available to you, unstructured data. There's even connectors for third-party integrations, so indexing other info. What we did here is essentially index the Canada.ca website to build a bot that can answer the question, how does employment insurance work? A citizen question. So it's Canada.ca/services, and here we are. Now we're going to ask the question as someone might do it today. How does employment insurance work? And the response that is provided is, in my opinion, subpar. So there is a link here to CRA. There's some Tax Act info there, but it doesn't really answer the question, nor does it point the citizen to how they can potentially get EI. This could drive calls to a call center. It could drive emails. The lack of that citizen experience drives inefficiencies. Now with this, we're asking the question after having indexed, and it answers the question very specifically. EI regular benefits are available to people who have lost their job through no fault of their own, and the source of that information is cited there. And you can go directly to the source. You can even ask follow-up questions like, well, how much can I expect from EI, which will be asked in just a moment here. So ask a follow-up. Oh, and type faster, Chris. So the basic rate for calculating EI benefits is 55% of your average insurance weekly earnings, okay, up to a maximum amount. The source is cited right there, so it's grounded in truth. Now, we're having discussions like this with a number of different customers who have internal data sets that they want us to index and essentially put a bot in front of to help answer questions about that data, whether it's internal audit report findings or what's another one that we're working on? There are a number of them. I don't want to discuss any customer that are not referenceable at this point, but there's a lot of interest in this. It's a big time saver. So, and just so you know, this demo was built in about 3 minutes. and I have a video of the demo being built that I'm going to skip because I've got 10 seconds left. But all that to say that Gen AI is available at your fingertips. It's easier than a lot of people do believe. And I hope that I've helped address some of the concerns that you might have, and we would be very happy to dig deeper into some of the content that was shared today. Thank you.